So what is a tank? I mean, it seems obvious, right? You picture this rolling fortress of steel and firepower. But is a tank really just the metal it's made of? Or is the idea of the tank where its true power really lies? To figure this out, we're going to look at three totally different stories: a terrifying rampage on a US highway, a top secret deception in World War II, and a famous urban legend from the world of AI. Okay, let's get into it. That's what an eyewitness said, someone who came face to face with 60 tons of military hardware where it should never, ever be. And no, this isn't some battlefield in a faraway country. This happened on a city street, right here in America. The scene is San Diego. It's about 6:30 on a Wednesday evening, rush hour traffic, people are just driving home from work. A completely, totally normal day that was about to turn into 23 minutes of unbelievable, terrifying reality. What drivers saw was something straight out of a movie. An M60 Patton battle tank, a machine literally built for war, just grinding its way down city streets, heading for one of San Diego's busiest freeways. It wasn't on a transport truck or anything like that. It was being driven, and it was an absolute force of destruction on the loose. Just think about that number for a second. 60 tons. That's like taking 30 cars and squishing them all together into one single, unstoppable object. Police cars swarmed it, but they were like flies. I mean, their weapons were completely useless against that much armor. All they could do was follow the chaos. And this quote from Officer Paul Paxton, one of the first cops on the scene, just says it all. He didn't see it as just a stolen vehicle. No. He saw it for exactly what it was: a moving weapon unleashed on a civilian population. For 23 insane minutes, this guy, Sean Nelson, took this machine on a terrifying joyride. He plowed through everything: cars, signs, fire hydrants, you name it. He went from quiet neighborhood streets onto the 805 freeway and then onto the 163. The chase only stopped because he tried to cross the concrete median to drive into oncoming traffic, and the tank got hopelessly stuck. This was the tank as a physical object of pure, raw force. But that story makes you wonder, what if the most powerful thing about a tank isn't the steel at all? What if the most effective tank isn't even real? To see what I mean, we need to jump to a different time and a very different kind of war. We're in the final brutal year of World War II. The Allies are pushing across Europe and they've got a secret weapon. But it's not a new gun or a bigger bomb. It's an army of artists. They were called the Ghost Army, and their mission wasn't to fight, it was to fool. Their entire job was to create phantom armies out of thin air, to draw enemy fire and attention away from where the real attacks were happening. And what was their most important tool? You guessed it, the tank. But see, these weren't 60-ton steel tanks. They were made of rubber and inflated with air compressors. A veteran described this surreal, almost magical moment of watching one of these decoys come to life, going from a canvas bundle on the ground to a full-sized M4 Sherman tank. A monster made of nothing but air. And their whole strategy was this massive multimedia deception. It wasn't just about the inflatable tanks. They created an entire sensory illusion. They would blast the sounds of armored divisions from these huge speakers, broadcast fake radio signals, and even had soldiers dress up as generals in local towns to spread rumors to enemy spies. And the scale of what they pulled off is just breathtaking. A single unit of just over 1,000 guys could convincingly pretend to be 2 entire divisions. That's a force of up to 30,000 soldiers. They weaponized the very idea of a tank, proving that what your enemy thinks they see can be way more powerful than what's actually there. So who were these masters of illusion? Well, they weren't your typical infantry. The Ghost Army was packed with creative talent recruited straight from art schools and ad agencies. We're talking future icons like fashion designer Bill Blass and artist Ellsworth Kelly. They spent their war not firing rifles, but painting camouflage and basically directing battlefield theater. So, we've seen the tank as a physical thing and as a psychological weapon. Now let's take one more leap into the abstract, almost alien world of data. This next story has become this classic cautionary tale among AI researchers. Now, it might just be an urban legend, but the lesson it teaches is incredibly real. Okay, so the story goes like this. The military wants an AI that can find camouflaged tanks and spy photos. So they feed it hundreds of images, and boom, it works with 100% accuracy. A huge success. But then they give it a new set of photos from the field, and it fails. Completely. Why? Because the AI never learned to see a tank. It had learned to see the weather. So what the heck happened? It's a phenomenon called dataset bias, and it's one of the biggest headaches in artificial intelligence. You see, a machine doesn't think like we do. It has no context, no common sense. It just finds the fastest, most efficient pattern to get the right answer, even if it's for the totally wrong reason. And here was the hidden flaw, the sneaky shortcut the AI found. In the training pictures, just by pure chance, all the photos with tanks had been taken on cloudy days, and all the pictures of empty forest had been taken on bright, sunny days. The AI figured out the ultimate cheat code. Why bother looking for the complicated shape of a tank when you can just check if the sky is gray? Which means that in the mind of this machine, a tank wasn't a weapon at all. It was just a statistical pattern that meant cloudy day. The object itself became completely meaningless, replaced by an abstract pattern in the data. And that brings us all the way back to our original question. We've just seen 3 wildly different versions of a tank, and each one was powerful in its own unique way. So after all that, what have we actually learned? Is it that physical beast we saw in San Diego? A machine defined by its weight, its armor, and its raw, terrifying power to destroy? Or is it the symbol we saw with a ghost army, a shape, an idea so powerful that a fake one made of rubber can be just as scary as a real one, simply because people believe it's there? Or could it be what that AI saw? Just a bunch of pixels, a weird coincidence in a data set, something completely disconnected from any physical reality at all. Each of these stories shows us that what we see isn't always what's real. A tank can be a weapon of force, a weapon of deception, or just a ghost in the data. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In a world where information can be twisted, where illusions are crafted with unbelievable skill, and where machines see patterns that we can't, maybe the most important skill we can have is learning to question what we see and understanding the difference between the tank and the shadow it casts.